go live button. Sooner or later, it's going to say this hangout on there is live. Okay, so I'm going to document me attempting to write some code to support the viewing of recent links of other providers when the user logs in. And so this is pretty much me just recording what I pretty much do every day, trying to meet my daily 1 hour commitment of writing code for this Nikeza project. And in this case, there's some support that I have to write or build for both the client side that's written in Elm and the server side that's written in F#. I also have to create probably a couple tables in SQL Server. So that's it. It's early in the morning. It's cold out here in Miami. It's like 60 degrees. I'm getting frostbite. So let me share my screen. Come here. Share my screen. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Share my screen. All right. So like, first thing I need to do, it's not the first thing, but launch SQL Server. I guess I could close you. Launch this, close you too. I guess I don't need you. I don't need you either. That's my blog. Yeah. All right. So my philosophy is to go after quick wins. That's what one of my mentors, Greg Leonardo, told me back in the day. He said, Scott, you go after quick wins, quick successes. And so with that said, this is Nikeza's database, SQL Server. And the intent, or what I'm building is, maybe I should, before I even show SQL Server, maybe I should show, where are you at? What's this? This is Nikeza server. This is Nikeza client. And this is what I need to update later, hopefully in this video. And I'm not confident I'm going to get it right the first time. All right, so all right. So all this is still here, okay? So if I launch local, come here, this Nikeza, this is in integration mode, meaning that it's connected to, or it has a dependency on a web server and an external database. And that's not even on right now. This is running on .NET Core, which I have some ceremony because apparently my .NET Core server side, or the server side that's implemented in .NET Core, it only works in regards to like web service calls or web requests when I run it in Visual Studio. When I attempt to run it in Visual Studio Code, it just doesn't work. So I have two different solutions open for Nikeza server. One is in Visual Studio, and the other one is in Visual Studio Code. You know what though? Before I do that, maybe I should run all my tests, make sure all my tests pass. So, come here. These are all my tests. I have a feeling that I'm probably gonna have some failures. And if I have failures, then I'm probably going to be using this time of this video to fix these tests. I hope I don't have any failures. Please pass. Oh, why is this taking so long? Oh, oh. All right. So I might be taking this video to fix these integration tests. Hopefully, what's this? Invalid column name, username. Oh, that might be okay. So add this test, adding data source results in links found. And if we look at the description, I guess I could open you up right here. Come here. No? I thought I can, no. I thought if I double click it expands the whole thing. If I look at the error description, it's complaining about invalid column name, username. Okay. If I were to, why is it doing that? So if I were to put a breakpoint right here and then debug this selected test, I have a feeling that because I'm using ADO.NET, I probably am referring to a hard-coded parameter name that SQL Server relies on called username when it should be called access ID. That's my hypothesis. If I just register, shouldn't matter. Okay. That is creating a source value. And then we call source get links. Okay. We call get links when we pass in the source. Okay. This right here. Source.user. Okay. I think I know what it is. But I'll go ahead and let's just step over that whole thing. So no exceptions yet. Add link, zip, updated links. And then we say, do we have values for updated links? We do. Source ID equals add source. This is probably where the exception is occurring at. If I step into that, this add source, oh, this says access ID, which is what I expect. And in my database, I have a source, and that's access ID. Okay. There's also source links, which is source ID, link ID. So this is fine. If I go back, and yeah, that looks fine. If I go in here, yo, come here, yo, and have a command. That looks fine to me. Uh, 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 uh. This is adding values. Okay. When I execute this, it appears I have a result. So that add source operation was successful. I think it was successful. Yeah, that was successful. That gives me a value. Okay. And when we call update source, no. What is this? Oh, no. We're just updating the source record, and we're giving it a new value called updated source. Okay. And then we call update links, and we say add source link. Well, no, that should be okay, but let's step through it. Source ID. source ID. Uh, 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 shoot. What is this complaining about? All right, so my call stack. Yo, our SQL says, what is our SQL? Oh, Scott, you're so smart. All right, so it's this SQL right here. It's still referring to username. And remember, our source doesn't have a username. It has an access ID. All right, so so smart. All right, so what I need to do is I need to navigate to the function that's responsible for providing that SQL statement that ADO.NET relies on, ADO.NET, and it is called get source SQL. Okay. So I'm in Visual Studio though, and Visual Studio doesn't really play well with .NET code. So like if I hit F12, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. No, no, in Visual Studio Code, I don't have this problem. Yeah, so I'll go there. And here it is right here. And I should just be able to say like access ID. Oh, and you should be okay. Okay, because that access ID should have the same spelling as this over here. Access ID in source. Okay, so we kill that. Okay. Now this was a test that was failing. Yo, I said kill. This was a test that was failing. And I am going to try you again. And I'm just gonna run. No, I'm gonna run you in debug mode. And I'm almost confident it should pass. And I'm almost confident that all my other tests should pass as a result. So now I'm running this same test that recently failed, in which all I had to do was update a name that didn't exist, or a field name that didn't exist. Boom, boom. Oh, shoot. Oh, are you going to fail? What else is wrong? Mm, 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 mm. Is empty. All right, you know what? That is failing. So something I want to do is, I think it's failing because, yeah, it's failing because I didn't let the test, I have a test cleanup that gets executed, or really it's called a teardown that gets executed, in which, of course, you don't work. After the end of every test that gets executed, I clean up the database. And that is, where are you at? That's this right here. You know what? This is too hard to navigate. Let me go here and use Visual Studio Code because I'm tired of using Find. Okay, so where are you at, integration test? Come here. All right, clean data store. Oh, aren't good. Load. F12. You're not working either, huh? Do I have to build you first? When I hit F12, I expect you to just navigate there. Okay, so it took a while. So this clean data store basically cleans up all the tables except for the static tables that have static data in there that's not meant to be deleted. All this other stuff can be deleted, and I think that's why my test failed. I'm praying that's why my test failed. And the reason why it failed even after I made the correction is because I terminated or I canceled the test, which means the test never finished, which means that the teardown procedure or operation never had a chance to get executed because the test was terminated prematurely. All right, so if I just try to run everything, come here, just run. I hit run. I'm still getting failures. No, what the freak? All right, so now what? Oh, you should have passed, man. So what was the reason now? The reason, well, it looks like it just, there are no exceptions. It looks like it just failed. So who's texting me? All right, so if I go back, let's say, all right, so you decided that you wanted to fail, and the reason why it failed is when we within the verification, we say get source, we pass in the source ID, and we are expecting, yeah, let me just run it to right here. So boom. And this is completely deviating from my original objective of doing this video. Okay, so our sources, we don't get any sources in here. Try to get head. Oh, that's going to return none. And adding data source results in links found. That's the title of it. And we say get data source. So this link ID is 35. If I go to the source in the database, that's this right here, 35. This access ID, I think, is causing an issue. All right, so if I go back, we are saying get source ID, and that exists. So let's set the breakpoint back up here again, because you exist. And read in sources. Go in here. And you see, L. I'm gonna have to terminate this video. All right, so I don't understand. I do have a source right here, and what it's saying is reading sources. The reader Get source SQL. And let me 35. Source ID is 35. Okay. If we go here, that says ID. Get source SQL is this over here. And we say select ID, profile ID, platform, access ID from source. Ooh, this is not right. This is not right. I'm not even sure how that even got there. So we want to get source SQL. We don't want the profile ID. We want this to be where ID, because that's the name of the field in source. Yep. We want this field right here to be the source ID passed in. That's what it should be. And I'm not even, all these tests used to pass. I'm not sure what happened. I need better tooling. Like this stuff. And again, ADO.NET or .NET Core using F#, there were some at the time, I think it's still present at the moment, where if you're using the combination of .NET Core, F#, your F# dot data or F# dot core dot data. I think it's F# dot data. Your type providers or SQL provider, whatever that thing is called, it's not supported, or there's some weird workarounds that you have to do. And so we decided when the Lambda cartel was assembled about 3 months ago, it was decided that a safer bet would just be to use ADO.NET, and we don't have to do as much ceremony with .NET Core, even though these hard-coded strings somewhat of a ceremony. Anyway, if I run this, oh, everything should pass now. And this, you should pass. You should pass. Oh, shoot. Oh, what the freak? Okay, so at least some of these others are indexed out of bounds. Index out of bounds. Yeah, so these other tests, get sources. Here goes another one. Access ID. Okay. So build that. So not all these get followers and get profile and get profiles, these all have the same error message with something about being out of bounds. I'm not going to focus on that yet because I want to figure out why this is still failing. I know why it's still failing. Okay, so let me go back, run this in debug mode. Something that I know that it's not doing is not getting the links, and I think I know why. So if we go back, we have source dot links. If we get source, and we say sources, we now have a source, and our links are 0. And so if I bring that back up, oh, come here. Set, oh, why can't I do this? The links are, and the test is failing because it says that there should be links, hence the sequence that is empty should equal false. So I have a feeling, I think I know why, is somewhere we're not passing in an API key. That's what my hypothesis is. Oh, so why can't I set statement up here? We add source. Well, I'm not going to add it again. We say get source with ID, read in sources, and let reader, okay, try read data, read in sources, and this access ID. So this access ID isn't valid. There should be a real access ID that YouTube requires, and I think that's why I'm not getting any links. So there's some access ID that's coming from my test API. So we need to actually, I already ran these. All right, so we need to just let this test fail, and that should clean up the database. To prove that the database is clean, everything's empty. Okay, go back over here. And this add source, we need to ensure that it is actually getting the right access ID that's required for pulling down links from YouTube. So if I right click and say debug again, I step through that, add source. Now, the source API key. User. That's it right there. That's it right there. There's a couple things wrong with this. So kill that. And we want to basically say file read, and this access ID should be shoot. This info.access ID, we don't need to change this. It just needs to get, okay. All right, come here. So this boom, some source. If we go to definition of some source, go back over here. And you, my friend, this right here needs to be shoot. That needs to be this right here. And I need the import system.io. Okay. I need also, well, hold up. Channel ID file. Where is this located at? Okay. Now, if I comment this out, copy, and then that, and then I'll go over here, and I throw you in here, and then attempt to build you. All right. So that builds, I could get rid of this over here. You're no longer needed, my friend. And we go here. And we can, we can just run it. We'll run it without debugging. Just run it. God damn it. I'm going to have to delete this video. Oh, why are you still failing? Huh? Debug. Reading sources. that's it. That's the type of value we want. So now we say reading data. We have one source. Links over here is empty. La 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 la. Okay. Because this is empty. That needs to be handled. Okay. Of course, this might be fine right here. All right, so I know why there is still like a issue that need to be corrected, but this is a lot better. I need to put in some infrastructure for reading in links, and then all this is done because more than likely the links are should be here. Yeah. So all this stuff is the result of hitting the YouTube API. All right, so we have links in the database. We just need to basically read those links in, replace this empty list with actually reading the links in. And I don't think I want to do that in this video. So this is culprit. It has nothing to do with the original objective that of implementing recent links, but this is in integration mode. To do read and read in links from link table. Now, this Nikeza, where are you at? Right here. If I go to settings, where are settings at? Where am I at? Oh, this is Nikeza.test. If I go to settings, I don't see settings. And I changed this to isolation mode for configuration. Stop. And that should update things. And I should say like test. Maybe I should launch my F12. Debugger, sign in. And this recent links tab is 0. The intent of this video was to basically get this functionality to work in which links would actually have to pull from a database to basically get the recent links that a logged in user has not yet observed. And so that's what this is over here. There's followers, subscriptions. Subscriptions is missing. It's missing a unsubscribe button. Oh, that's because I didn't log in. No, I logged in. No, it's missing an unsubscribe button. I should be able to unsubscribe. That used to be in there. I'm not sure where it went. Like this. The highlighted uh, titles are basically featured by the provider. So the provider has the ability to feature specific links so that they bubble to the top. Yeah, I like that. And this is a little filter right here. And what the freak? And that stopped working. Why did that stop working? For the portfolio, did it stop working too? All right, that works. But when you go to all, that stopped working. So that has to be fixed. This is how you feature unfeature a link. So all this is running in isolation mode, meaning that there's no dependency on the web server, and there's no dependency on the database. All this stuff is in memory. Versus when we run this in integration mode, and this web application is actually connecting to external systems, hence a web server, hence a database. And so when I said go after quick wins, I guess I could close you and close you. In regards to going after quick wins, like I know there needs to be a table in which this table is going to be called, I'm not going to call this table. I'm going to call it observed links observed, for lack of a better name. And that's going to have ID and the int as the key. And there's probably should be a link ID. And obviously that's the int. And there should probably be a profile ID, which represents the user that's signed in. That's int. However, in the database it's an int, but in the domain logic it's actually a string. And I think that's it. Links observed. This links observed tables basically going to get populated when a user logs in, they select a provider, and the provider's links are displayed. For each link that's displayed on that provider's portfolio page, we just add it in here. Okay. So what that means is something's telling me that this should really be a subscriber ID. And that link ID, do I need to put a provider ID on it? I don't think so. I think like link ID is going to point to the provider, right? Because if I go to link over here, column, here it has a profile ID. That's the person that owns that link, aka the provider. So I think that just having a link ID and a subscriber ID, the subscriber represents the user that's logged in. Every time they log in and view a portfolio of a provider, every link within that portfolio is going to be marked as observed. Thus, it's going to be added to this table. And so when we want to get recent links, my current thought process is that we will get, this might be an expensive operation, but I'll just say it out loud anyway. Thought process is to, one strategy is to get all the links of the provider, get all, get all the link IDs of this links observed as it relates to a subscriber, and basically remove all the links based on ID that show up in both the links observed and obviously the links table. That, I think, can be expensive. Another strategy may be, another strategy could be that we maintain that whenever a logged in user views the portfolio of a provider, each link within that portfolio goes into this table. Okay. In order for this recent links, in order for, how do I get out of here? In order for recent links to be observed or to show up for a user to consume it, then yeah, I feel it. I feel like the first approach, the only approach that I identified is the only one I could think of right now. Is you basically take all the links in the link table, and then you take the links observed, which is in this table that I'm creating, and you basically deduct the links observed from the total links, and that will be the recent links that will show up in here. Yeah, I think that's it. That just seems like a really expensive operation, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, either way it goes, this table needs to be here. Okay, so let me just say, and hit refresh, and sooner or later, we have our links observed over here. And it's the ID, the link ID, subscriber ID. Okay, cool. And so that's a quick win. That this table, regardless of the strategy or the implementation details of getting this feature in, I think this table still has to be here. All right. So in regards to that, what else do we have? We need a, where am I at? Yeah, this is the Elm client. We're going to have to create a message that, come here. I have to create a message basically that reflects the results or the response of getting the recent links. So what do I mean by that? Well, in here there is if I go back to settings, the settings it basically shows the API that must be implemented for both Nikeza server and also the local test API, which is this file right here. This is a local test API. And so all these functions in here are functions that show up right here. So this is the contract. This is like the interface pretty much that both the test API that's local, as well as the gateway that relies on web requests, they both have to implement this. And you see that right here. So we see for integration, we have this thing called services module, try login, try register, update profile, get a provider, get provider topic, get providers, get portfolio. And the same thing over here. Test API, try login, try register, update profile, get provider, provider topic, etc. So going after a quick win, something that we need to add here is we need to add it probably doesn't matter where it's at, but we need to add, actually this bootstrap thing is bothering me. Should really be up here because it's the first thing that occurs. So I move you up here. Okay. And you don't like that. And that's because I need to move you up here as well because you are the interface. Yeah. Come here. Okay. Hold up, what just happened? Okay, let me start over. Just try register. And we should just be able to do this right here. Get rid of the comma right there. All right, that's happy. Now, what I wanted to say is we need to add a recent links function. And we call it recent links function message. Okay. And that needs to be applied to both services and the test API. So we say services recent links. Shoot. Go back. Yeah. And then we say test API recent links. Oh. Okay. And so this recent links function has to actually be implemented. Well, it needs to be not implemented, but it needs to be defined. So this is the function signature. Now we need to follow the same structure for the most part. So let me say this right here, recent links function, that right there. And this recent links is going to basically rely on how's this going to work? If I say, as a user that's logged in, if I say give me the recent links, then I'm, how do I say this? It's basically going to, behind the scenes, take my profile ID, hence the person that's logged in, take their profile ID, and it is going to, with that profile ID, it's going to hit the subscriptions table, and it is going to get all of the people that this profile subscribes to. So this is the subscriptions table right here. If we expand that, let me close that. Then thought processes, subscriber ID, profile ID. If I go back over here, this recent links function definitely is going to have to take the person that's logged in, which is the profile ID. And I don't think it needs anything else. Yeah, and so this is going to return a list of links. Okay. And are you still happy? Uh-oh. Oh yeah, and now I have to implement it for both the test API and the gateway. So again, this recent links takes an ID and it returns a list of links. So within the test API, I can, where am I at? Where are you at? Here's some of the, I should probably break this up. I'm thinking about breaking it up. All right, so anyway, within this test API, there can be, you see how I already have some of this already in here, but I need to actually have the actual function. So where's this try login? Yeah, try register. So I'm going to put the recent links right under here. Say recent links. And it's going to take a ID, which is the profile ID of the person that's logged in. And it is going to take as the second parameter a function that takes a JSON link and list. JSON link list, what it's going to return. And then I could say, oh, this is supposed to be a lowercase. So then I could say recent links, then profile ID, and then message equal, and I could then say HTTP test message. Okay, this is within my test API. All right, so this is right now empty, but I mean, I could say like recent links 1, and then I could say recent links 2. Okay. Now it's complaining, saying that doesn't know what this JSON link is. What file is that? Since that's API, it says 498. That's weird because it doesn't have a squiggly on it. All right, so it says recent links ID JSON link. And that's probably because I need to do this JSON link. And it's still not happy. There's all this other stuff, JSON portfolio. So there should be this is a JSON link right here. Let me make sure I save everything. It says this JSON link has too many arguments. Okay, so if I go back, 498. That should be it. I don't understand what they're complaining about. It says services.adapter.json link has too many arguments. No, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I don't. Am I supposed to put lists before it? I think I'm supposed to put lists before it. And yeah, it looks better. So then this is expecting the right side to be a list link. This recent links is this is an actual link, and it probably needs to be a adjacent link. So that's okay though, because I'm almost confident. I'm almost confident. Oh, what the freak? That this right here, I should be able to say list.map and to list.map to actually, yeah, that should be fine right there. I need that pipe operator. And it's probably the same thing right here. And now what else is it going to complain about? Is expecting the right side to be a list, JSON link, something, but the right side is list. JSON link. Yeah, I don't understand this. Hold up. Is expecting the right side to be a list and then a list of JSON links. But here, but the right side is a list of JSON link. Okay. Okay. So what do you want me to do? Am I supposed to I'm supposed to do something like this? I think that's what it's asking for. And okay, so I don't know. This is what I have to look into because I'm not sure. Is expecting the right side to be a list, JSON link, So my brain hurts, and I'm going to take a break to clear my head so that I could attack these compiler errors. And apparently, I'm still recording on YouTube. Hold up. So, and stop sharing, and that's it. So this is me actually recording myself, writing code, troubleshooting errors, and continuing my learning of Elm and debugging F# integration tests. So that's it. Adios. I'm out.